Hello, everyone. This is your host, Brittany, and thank you for joining me on this week's episode of PCAT and Pre-Pharmacy Podcast, where we talk about everything pharmacy from the pre-pharmacy journey to life after pharmacy school. This week, we have a special guest. He is a third-year pharmacy student at the Northwest Ohio University, and during the interview, we talk about how he became interested in pharmacy, him completing a post-bac program, and also his interest in advocacy and policy. So, without further ado, let's get started with the show. All right, Ikenna, thank you for joining me on this week's episode. Can you please tell our audience about yourself?
Hey audience, hey everybody. Like Bree said, my name is Ikenna, and I'm currently a P3 third year pharmacy student at Northeast Ohio Medical University. Short form is NEOMED, and originally I'm from Nigeria. Nigeria is in West Africa. I have a background in international relations and criminology, and currently I'm wrapping up my third year and looking forward to starting my APPES rotation, and hopefully my aspiration and ambition is to someday become a ambulatory care pharmacist, or hopefully work in the industry in the advocacy and policy making side.
Oh, great. That's what's up. So, what inspired you to become a pharmacist?
What inspired me to become a pharmacist? So, like I had said earlier, my background was in international relations. I initially wanted to become a diplomat, but I actually went into pharmacy because of my family. My whole family is back home in Nigeria. Besides, my parents, my siblings. I just have one of my brother here with me. So, and I don't know if you guys know much about like medications overseas and just healthcare in general. Especially medications. Drugs are not regulated overseas, so there's nothing like prescription, no OTC. So everything is basically over the counter. So that being said, I want to be able to take care of my family. I want to be able to know what my family is taking, because I've had times my mom and all my cousins or my dad or just siblings would just call me and tell me, hey, I'm taking this. This is before even pharmacy school. So the reason why I went to pharmacy school is I want to be able to just for their safety and also to give back to the community. So
Okay. That is great. So, tell us a little bit about your journey to pharmacy school. I like to highlight like different backgrounds and journeys on this podcast, of course, because there's not just one way, to get into pharmacy school. I got my bachelor's and my master's, and I didn't decide to go to pharmacy school until probably my junior year of undergrad, and my background is not necessarily in the science field. So just give us a little background on like your journey to pharmacy school.
So my journey to pharmacy school was a little different. It's not the normal traditional route, like for most pharmacies. I know a lot of people that go right from high school and do the 0 to 6 program.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I had said earlier, I initially wanted to become a diplomat. So I studied on international relations for my undergraduate, and I also studied global studies for my master's degree. So, and I had a gap year where I was applying for PhD programs in conflict resolution and conflict resolution and analysis studies. And during that gap year, something happened. My mom fell very, very ill she was in Nigeria. And at that point in time, I had to leave. Essentially, I left everything I was doing. I had applied to a few PhD programs. Actually got accepted to Nova Southeastern in Florida to study conflict resolution studies. But I had to defer for 1 year and go back home and take care of my mom. And she actually ended up coming here to get treatment and everything. So it was after that experience I decided with my mom and my whole family, I decided that one person in the family had to go into some kind of healthcare field, and it was then I decided to start a post back in and I started post back in for pre-pharmacy, and I decided on pharmacy because of what I had spoke about earlier. Because of I said I went to pharmacy school for my family.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just that was the main reason why I went into pharmacy, because I wanted to be able to impact them directly.
Okay.
Like becoming a doctor is I thought about other healthcare professions
Mm-hmm.
like doctor, nursing, PA, and all of that. But pharmacy is one where I can directly make an impact in their lives, in my family's life, as well as people that I really care about. Because, like I said, our medications back home is not they're not regulated. Everything is all OTC. So that's why that was my journey in the pharmacy school.
Okay. And you said you completed a post-bac. That's where you completed your prerequisites?
Yes, I completed my prerequisites. I attended Cleveland State University in Ohio. I got my bachelor's there, my master's there, and I also did my post back there. So I did my post back, and I went on ahead to apply to NEOMED, Northeast Ohio Medical University, and I matriculated in September of 2018.
Okay. Okay. Very interesting. Everybody has their own unique journey and aspirations as to how they end up where they are. Now, I know you said you're a third year, but do you have any idea of what you want to do after you graduate? Do you want to do a fellowship or residency or anything?
Yeah, I am actually in that process of making that decision.
Okay.
When I started pharmacy school, if you had asked me this question, I would tell you, yeah, I want to go into residency. I want to be a clinical pharmacist, right? Like 120%. But right now, I've been after like so much exposure, been on several EP rotations, and also working in the hospital, and also speaking and shadowing and talking to different people. I am leaning towards 70. I'm very undecided between
That's
residency
okay.
between residency and fellowship. But
Okay.
if we were to weigh them out, I'm more. I think fellowship might be winning right now. I'm looking to go into industry pharmacy.
Okay.
Um, if like I mentioned earlier, I like I mentioned earlier. Sorry, like I mentioned earlier, I am my interest in fellowship would be to go in the policy and advocacy route. Because that would tie into my international relations background. It means somewhat, or to go into regulatory affairs. So anything that involves policy making, regulation. So that's one thing I'm really big on for industry. And if I were to go into residency, I would do ambulatory care. So more like a Kimadin clinic, just
Hmm.
manage like chronic diseases, states, and all of that. So that's where I am right now. But talk talk to me next semester.
Okay.
I'll have my mind made up.
I know when I started school, I was just like, yeah, I think I want to do a residency. And now I'm just like, I don't know what I want to do. I just want to pass the semester. That's all I want to do.
You'll pass
like,
it, I promise.
like, I don't even want to think about it right now, but I know it's something like I should be. Have a little bit of an idea of which way I want to go. And it's very interesting. I have a little bit of a regulatory background. I have a public health degree, and my bachelor's was in regulatory regulations. So I had a little interest. I still do have interest in policy, but I don't know what I want to do with it yet.
That's interesting. So I think you probably would be a great fit for the industry then, like especially on the regulatory or actually policy side. But you have a lot
I
of time.
know. I know you're the second person that said that, and I've never really thought of industry. I had an internship with the National Association Board of Pharmacy, and some pharmacists there told me that, and I was like, well, I don't know. We're gonna see what happens. I still have time.
Yeah.
So quiet. Before we continue with the rest of the interview, I just want to remind you guys to make sure to visit CrackPCATcom for all of your PCAT study needs. I know there is an exam date for January and February, so if you haven't already looked at CrackPCAT.com for any of your study materials, now is a good time to do so. They have a bunch of practice exams, a lot of video explanations, and also you can access the information on all devices, your phone, your computer, your iPad, everything. There's over 2,400 PCAT questions that you can simulate through, and they guarantee a good score. So make sure to check out crackpcat.com for all of your study needs. Now let's get back to the show. So, okay, so do you have any advice for us P1s or P2s or anything that you wish you would have known while you were matriculating through school?
Honestly, that's a loaded question right now.
Yeah.
No, I mean in such a way, considering our current climate, political climate, as well as like just with COVID in general. So times are definitely different from when I started and when the current P1s are right now. But if I were to give a P1 an advice, I'm not sure how different every school is operating, if you're doing online or like in person. But definitely one thing I want to advise all P1s is know your study style, know what works for you, and figure that out as soon as possible.
Yes.
That's the very first thing you have to do to excel in any professional program, not just pharmacy school. Some people figure it out a little too late, like probably second semester. So that's the very first advice. Take some time, study yourself, study your study habits, master what works for you. Be efficient. Efficiency is key. Don't spend 7 hours on one lecture where you can get it done in 3 hours. So like figure out what works for you so you can excel academically, because your number one goal is to succeed academically. If you cannot pass the class, you cannot achieve anything you want to do, correct?
Yeah, I'm
So
definitely learning that.
so, so absolutely that's the number one goal. That's number one advice. Secondly and thirdly, I'm gonna also emphasize on networking. Networking, I think it's key. They say a lot of things like, "Oh, get involved on campus, do all of this." But in my opinion, those are great, and especially now with COVID, I'm not sure how much like organizations and things are functioning on campus. So I definitely think this is a great time for P1s to network with upperclassmen that go to their school, network with upperclassmen that go to other schools, network with current healthcare professionals like pharmacists, other current pharmacists as well. So that's definitely big. So first is know your study habits, know what works for you, figure that out fast as soon as possible. Second is to network. Network is big. That's one thing I tell people. A lot of pharmacy students, I realize, when you compare uh to like other healthcare professional fields, I tend to realize most pharmacy students are like kind of closed off. They're like kind of introverted and not like social. So I definitely encourage most P1 students to take advantage of like social media, LinkedIn. Reach out to as much people as you can. Build Definitely get a mentor. That's the third thing I'm gonna talk about. Get a mentor that you want you want to strive to become. So make sure you have a pharmacy mentor. I mean, it would be great if they go to your school, but if they don't go to your school, it's also great. Someone that will kind of guides you on the right path onto what you want to be, or that helps you succeed or gives you the best advice. So definitely those three things are key. Figure out your study habits, networking. I cannot emphasize that enough. And then definitely you need to have a mentor. A mentor, someone in their 3rd year or maybe 4th year. A 3rd year will be better so that at least they get to see you grow. Your first 2 years. So those are the three big things. And for people of color like us, in our field right now, we also gonna have our own challenges. So in addition to all of this I just said, if you're a person of color, I don't know what school you go to. I know in my school where I go to, our numbers are pretty low. So you might meet a lot of challenges where you might be like one of the very few people of color in like you're the minority, in your class. And this it applies to the same thing applies when you go on rotations. You realize that even in the hospital, for every I don't want to give numbers, but you might be in every team you're in, you're probably going to be the only person of color in any team you're in. Any rounding team you're going to be, or or wherever you be. So definitely, be willing to pick your battles, because you will definitely meet a lot of challenges because of how you look. You have people say things to you because of how you look or look. The biggest one I get a lot is, "Oh, you're in pharmacy school." I don't, I, they get surprised that it's someone of color is in pharmacy school or knows so much, So definitely, if you're a person of color, you have to grow thick skin. One, and two, you got to pick your battles. Don't fight every battle. Know what's important. The goal is to become a pharmacist and make sure you get that goal. So, like, I know I said a lot of things, but just walk out of here knowing the four things I mentioned, um, which is definitely know yourself and figure out your study style. Then, secondly, learn to network. Uh, Thirdly, have a mentor. And if you're a person of color, you have an additional problem, to you. You have to learn to pick your battles, know when to fight back, and you have to have a thick skin and just like don't break down, because it's gonna be a long road, a rough road, in addition to the stress you're going through. And trust me, you're gonna go through a few things because of how you look. So just understand that, especially in our current climate right now. And and just enjoy the ride. It's
Oh,
really
it's all
gonna
right.
trust me, it feels like it's when you're going through it, it's so stressful. But trust me, enjoy the pharmacy school ride. 3 years, 4 years is gonna fly by real quick. So make sure you enjoy the ride. Don't spend so much time just studying. Don't be consumed by school. Just let it go through you. Enjoy it all. So that's what's important.
Definitely. And I do want to emphasize a few other people I've had on the podcast also said networking and a lot of things that you've stated, but I do want the audience to know that not just networking in the sense of people that are already pharmacists, make sure you get to know like the P2s or the upperclassmen or whatever you may call them at your school, because they can definitely help. And I'm learning that they could definitely help. I didn't know anybody at my school prior to, being accepted and starting, but talking with like the tutors and just being introduced and being in clubs and stuff like that, the upperclassmen are definitely helping. It's gonna help.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Most people don't know that. They just think, "Oh, I know a pharmacist," but like that's why I
Yeah.
think a mentor should come into play. If you can have a mentor kind of guide you through things. So, but yeah, definitely
Yeah.
upperclassmen, they're gonna be a resource. They'll make things easier for you.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, my school specifically, they give us like a mentor during orientation. But for people who don't, like schools that don't do that, I think it's a good idea for people to I'm kind of a introverted extrovert, I guess you could say. I don't know. I really don't like talking that much until I kind of warm up. So getting to reach out to people, like I remember I was on some Zoom meeting for some organization and this guy was really speaking. He's like, I'm a studier because I don't really get things straight off the back. I have to study. And he said that was something that he had really struggled with when he started school. And so I had reached out to him just by seeing his name and them introducing him. And he's kind of, been helping me, tutoring me and things like that. And it kind of takes a lot of energy out of me because I'm not used to like just going up and speaking to people or emailing them. You still have to, use the correct verbiage and things like that. But just getting out of that a little bit, like I don't know, you will never succeed if you just kind of stay to yourself because you need to tell people where you're struggling or if you're not, like not just when you're struggling, but you just need people in your village, I guess.
Yep, yep, absolutely. And you said something, even though your school gives you mentor, I mean, you might not really click or get it off with your mentor.
Hmm.
So like, sometimes it's always good, like you said, talk to people. So you might bond better with other people that either they're not your mentor. So yeah, that's also something to know. Just because your school gives you a mentor doesn't mean that's like, oh yeah, I have a mentor right off the bat. No, mentor should actually focus on your development, your growth. They should share the same interests with you and what you like to do, and not just because they're assigned to be your mentor. So that's one thing to consider when you pick a mentor. Make sure you pick the right mentor.
Yeah, you
I,
just gave me an
I've been
idea.
sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Go ahead.
No, I said I've been very lucky and blessed. I have a really good mentor right now. I had a mentor, and actually I'll tell you a funny story. So when I started my first year
Hmm.
in pharmacy school, I met this. I never saw her in person, but she was always featured on our on our news NEOMED. Our news outlet is called the Pulse, right? The Pulse.
Okay.
So, she is always featured because, she did research or she won an award or she's always she's extraordinary in my own words. She was a P3 at that time. So I kept on seeing her name on places, because she's involved in so many organizations. And I saw her picture and I was like, you know what? I want to be like this girl. I want to be like her. I want her to be my mentor. My school already assigned me a mentor, but just because I liked how she was, and
Hmm.
basically how she seemed like a super student, if that's the right word to use. And I randomly, luckily, one day ran into her in the cafeteria, and I asked her, please, I see you I've never had one conversation with her. I don't even know her at that time. I was like, hey, you don't know me, but I see you. I see you on the articles. I see your name on organization things. I would like for you to be my mentor. I would like for you to guide me in this pharmacy school journey. And she was shocked that happened. And next thing you know, we exchanged contact and we had a meeting. We had a meeting one day. We sat down. I told her about my plans, my goals. And honestly, that has been one of the best things that has happened to me, in terms of like organizing, or in terms of my support to farm to my academic portion of the pharmacy program. And so and planning out, like, so she's been really great. So I do encourage having a mentor. That would be great. And having a great support system, if you have a significant other. So that's real big too, sometimes know that they might not understand, you might not understand. So just having a great support system, it's definitely big. If you have a fiance, girlfriend, a boyfriend, whoever you're with, or even family too. Family plays a big role. Your siblings, your brother. So those are all things like, you need the village, like you said. It takes a village to raise a child. So you need the entire tribe. So
So those were all of the questions I have for you. Do you have any questions for me or any closing remarks?
no, I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on your show, and also for having me here, and continue doing these great things that you're doing. Continue showcasing uh pharmacy students, healthcare professionals. Continue encouraging people as much as you can. And all of us, it's all of our duties. Not, we have to do that. So I just want to thank you for that. Thank you for this opportunity. And you can leave my contact info, my social media. Yeah, you can leave my social media at any student. I was gonna say, anyone interested in reaching out, has any questions, let them feel free to contact me. But other than that, thank you for having me on here, and let's win together. My favorite quote is, let's win together. So let's get it.
So I would just like to thank Ikenna again for being a guest on the show. And as mentioned earlier, I will leave all of his contact information, social media, and things like that in the description out. So make sure to check that out. And also, of course, if you want to be a guest on the show or you have a topic that you want me to speak about, just you can email me at podcast@crackpcat.com, or you can just leave a comment or DM or anything like that, and I will definitely make sure to get around to it. So I will talk to you guys on the next episode.